So we know, everyone in this hall, everyone in the overflow hall, everyone watching at home, we know there's a limit to what can be achieved within the current constitutional position. There's no starker example of this than the contrast between the darling squeeze on Scottish finance and Scotland's resources from the North Sea flooding into the Treasury. The contrast is between where Scotland is and where we could be. Today, I'm releasing figures compiled by the Scottish Government which demonstrate that with control of our own resources, with independence, Scotland would move from 10th to 3rd in the European League of Prosperity. Only Luxembourg and Ireland would be above Scotland in wealth per head. In the world, we would be 6th. Conference, that is the reality of Scotland's ranking. Mediocre within the United Kingdom, immeasurably better off with independence. And let no one ever again say that this country is too small or too poor to stand on its own 2 feet. Now, these figures show Scotland's potential as an independent country, but they also highlight responsibility. It's one thing being a rich country. It is another to become a rich society. To be both is our aim, and that requires facing up to the depressing social legacy of the Union. And then there's how do we equip Scotland to continue to grow its economy? 2 things, above all, make a country prosperous: the development of its people, its human capital, and also a competitive advantage. If you do the first without the second, then you end up educating people to move elsewhere. You have the best wee airport departure lounges in the world. But if we do both, and we intend to do both, then we can create the Celtic lion economy in Scotland to match and then exceed the Irish tiger. It is against that backdrop the darling hits Scottish finances as oil hits $90 a barrel. And at this time of Westminster enforced financial austerity, Scotland can only look at the revenues flowing from Scottish waters to the London Treasury and wonder what might be. We don't have to look that far, delegates. The Norwegian budget this coming year is increasing by 7%. The Scottish budget is being allowed 0.5%. Now, I don't shrink from making this government the best it can be within a devolved United Kingdom. That is what we have an obligation to do, to deliver for those who elected us. But nor do I shrink from telling the people in this conference that every passing day of being Scotland's First Minister makes me more and more certain of the need for Scotland to have the full powers of an independent country. So we've launched a national conversation on Scottish independence. It has excited great interest. 200,000 people have already consulted the site. Thousands have left their opinions. Don't know if Gordon's submitted one yet. I'll have to check it up when I get home tonight. Now, that is, delegates, the biggest consultation in Scottish governmental history, and the people are enjoying it. But there will be time to reach a conclusion to that consultation, to that debate, to that conversation. And let me say today that I intend to place the referendum bill before Parliament in time to be enacted in this Parliament. Now, if the unionist parties can agree a scheme together, then let them come forward and let that scheme be tested against independence and then judged by the people. But if not, then do not let them try to prevent the people from having their say, because it is the same people who will decide the next government of Scotland. Scotland is a nation of determined internationalism. I think of the great Scots, people like David Hume, Adam Smith, James Clerk Maxwell, David Livingstone, Mary Slessor, Eric Liddell, John Moore, Elsie Ingalls, Alexander Fleming, and the vast army of inventors, explorers, writers and thinkers who transformed this planet. Some would have it that they invented the modern world. I think of Scotland's rich history, of our close ties to the continent, through medieval and modern history, of our place as a special daughter of the Catholic Church, and thereafter of the pivotal role in the Reformation which swept Europe. This is a country which naturally engages with the world around us. We're a people who travel, who contribute, who embody the concept of global citizenship. Scotland belongs on a world stage. It is the challenge of this generation that our world is simultaneously globalised and disparate. The geopolitical context in which we live does not allow for nations to shuck their responsibilities. Not only is it right, therefore, that Scotland, devolved or independent, engages in a wider stage, but now is the time to think ahead, to show leadership, to accept responsibility. And in that context, delegates, let us be quite clear. This government opposes the continuation of Trident on the River Clyde and will not rest till these weapons of mass destruction are removed. Delegates, I was in New York 2 weeks ago, and next week I go to Sri Lanka. And these two places have a thread of connection which illustrate the current international obligations and indeed the opportunities of Scotland. The National Theatre production of The Black Watch has taken New York by storm. The play dramatically illustrates the contrast between the bravery of our soldiers and the cynicism of those who sent them into an impossible conflict. At the speech I made in New York, I had the opportunity to outline the sort of role that a small nation such as Scotland can embrace. I talked about the potential for Scotland in the role of a mediator, a broker, a wise counsel. The international dimension of the debate on Scotland's future is vital. Consider the role of independent Norway, a country of comparable size and status to Scotland. Norwegian efforts in terms of mediation, whether those leading to the creation of the Oslo Peace Accord or the brokering of peace in Sri Lanka, have been acclaimed throughout the world. Fellow Scots, we are not simply trying to build a proud nation, but rather to build a nation of which we can be proud. Norway helped broker peace in Sri Lanka. Next week I go to that country to pursue Scotland's and Glasgow bid for the Commonwealth Games. We go with high hopes and great goodwill, all party support, all community support. And Scotland is a proud member of the Commonwealth, participating as Scotland. Would anyone suggest that it would be otherwise in the Commonwealth Games? Conference, this nation will be proud to take its place in the international community as we work together to face the challenges of the 21st century. Our central goal, our mission, stirs the heart, the cause of an independent Scotland, a noble cause. But our task is to take the cause of independence to the people with humility, to win that argument on its merits. That process only started on May the 3rd. We must now move forward and champion Scottish ambition. We must demand of ourselves as a government what we ask the people we serve, seeing the big picture, aspiring to be world-class and restless for national excellence. Winning the argument for independence and delivering good governance for Scotland are two sides of the same coin. The better we govern, the stronger the case. The challenge to this government, to this party, is to embody the